Okay, I'm going to start with the Diamond Perfector. And that's what I'm going to incise the eyes with. Hold on just a second, I got to switch to my Optivisor. Can't see with my glasses on. Okay, then after I put the Optivisor on, I can't see anything else, but I will be able to see the head in front of my face anyway. Okay, so we're going to start by, when you look at this doll, there is actually, see the difference? Of course, the camera's kind of magnifying it here, but one eye is bigger than the other. This one right here is bigger in the Greenware stage than this one is. So we're going to start by knowing that to begin with, so I can kind of adjust it a little bit. So I'm going to start incising around the eyes with the Diamond Perfector. So I'm going to take and incise right here, the top eyelid, and then I'm going to do the other one. Hopefully I'm going to be able to keep the camera to where you can see here. It's hard to get the camera seeing and me seeing at the same time. Okay. Just going to lightly blow the dust off here to where I can see. Then I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to incise around the bottom of the eye. Okay, let me see if I can get this closer to where you can see a little bit better as I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm going around this eyelid, like so. Okay, so I have my incising lines in. Okay, can you see that? Okay, and remember, one is quite a bit bigger than the other one here. In fact, I think I'm going to go over this again. Now I'm going to take the Diamond Perfector, and I want the tool laying so it's over the inside of the eye here. You know, I don't want to be working over the eyelid area like this. I want to be working over the inside of the eye. So I'm going to go in, incise this a few more times, because I don't want to make this any bigger than what it already is. I want to keep it on the smaller side. So I'm going to make sure I'm not enlarging that eyelid any more than I have to. Okay, then before I start cutting, I'm going to take this little Sealy's multi-purpose blender, size 6. I've got some other ones here that are royal that will work the same. I'm going to take this brush, and I want to smooth that incising line before I actually get started cutting it out. It'll be less apt to chip that way. So I want to smooth the edges out here. Okay, now I just got me out a brand new X-Acto knife. I wanted a brand new sharp blade, and I prefer an X-Acto knife over a scalpel, just simply because I can twirl it better, where with a scalpel I'm not able to do that. Okay, so I'm going to start the X-Acto knife in the center of the eye, and I'm going to start turning it till I get all the way through, and I have my hole. See, I have my hole started. I'm going to go back in there, and I can keep turning this until I've used up the size of the blade, or if I've gotten to where I'm very close to the top and the bottom of the incised line of the eye. Okay, I'm going to quit there. But see, I have a hole started like so. You know, I have a hard time knowing which way is, you know, the opposite way here when I'm looking at the camera. I'm either going the wrong way or something. It'll take some getting used to. Okay, now back to this one. I'm going to go in and do the exact same thing. Okay, I'm going to stop just short of the top of the the incising line at the top and the incising line at the bottom. Okay, time to quit. Okay, now I'm going to start cutting out the eyes. And I want to form my pointed corners before I ever get to the outside corner. So as you can see, I started from my inner circle here, and I've taken a little bit off up here. I've taken a little bit off down here, and I'm meeting right at my point here. So let me do this a few more times. I'm going to go up to my incising line and stop when I get even with it. I am not beveling the knife. The knife is being held flat against the head. I'm not beveling inside or out one way or the other. I just want it to stay totally flat here. Okay. Now I'm ready to turn it and go to this side. Okay, same thing. Can you see where I'm at now? I've got it about half done. That outside corner is fine. Okay, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start forming my point that's even with the tear duct right there before I ever get there. So I'm going to take a little bit off here, a little bit off here, little off up down below, little bit off above, little bit off below, little bit off above, and keep working my way until I've got this even with the line that I've incised. Okay, so a little bit more here. Okay, let me turn it and look at it. I can take a little bit off up here to match up to my incising line for my upper eyelid. And I can take a little bit off down below here. Okay, I need a little bit more right here. Okay, let me show you this one. Oops, if I can get the right one over here. Okay, there is the one eye. Now let me go ahead and do the other one. So same thing. I'm going to go in here. Now this is the eye that's a little bit bigger in the Greenware, you know, in the actual head. So I don't want to make it any bigger than I have to. In fact, I want to keep it as small as I can so I can try and get these eyes as close to being the same size as possible. When the sculpting, you know, when the sculpting is off in the original face, it's going to be virtually impossible to get two that are exactly the same size. So, you know, just do as best as you can and try and get them close. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing as I did with the first one, and I'm keeping as much to the inside of this line as I can. I don't want to go out there any farther than I have to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and work on my corner, my outside one first. I'm going to take off from the top and the bottom, meeting in a very sharp point out here at the outer edge of the eye. Okay, so I'm just going to keep working on this here. Okay, now I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to work on the tear duct area. Same thing. I'm going to go in and form the point before I ever get there. So can you see I'm still working on getting to the tear duct right here, but I already have my nice sharp corner. I don't want this to be rounded and then keep working and then I get all the way to my point where I need to be and it's still rounded and I have no way to make a point without, you know, making it bigger than what it should be. So let me keep working on getting towards the point here of the tear duct. Okay, I need to take off a little bit down here. And now I need to start studying the relationship of the size between these two. Okay, now this one right here was the one that was so big in the mold, and I'm not sure if I can get this up there good enough so that you can see it. But right here is where the original line dipped down. Now I'm going to be able to alter that some by taking a white bristle brush, you know, one of the regular like stain brushes that we use for cleaning greenware. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to lay this brush on there. And I'm going to flatten that area out. What I'm trying to do is get rid of that incising line where it was the outside edge of the lower part of the eye there. If I can get that erased off, then I can make this lower lid whatever size I want it to be. So I'm pulling down this way, I'm pushing up that way, and I'm rubbing back and forth. Okay, I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller brush now. I'm going to go back to this one. There's one little spot here I want to take off. From the original incising line. Okay. If I'm going to do any adjusting to the size of the eyes, I want to do it to the bottom eyelids down here, because if I do it there, you know, I've got this smooth surface that I can be painting my eyelashes over. I don't want to adjust it from the upper lid because then you're going to be interfering with your molded eyelids. But the same thing, I'm going to go back in with this brush and smooth out the incising line on the lower edge of this eye. Okay, now I've got a clean, smooth surface for my bottom eyelids. I've also adjusted these two eyes where they're almost the same size now. In fact, I can go a little bit bigger on the eye that was bigger in the first place. I'm a little bit small. So I'm going to take my X-Acto knife in and go in and do a little bit of adjusting. So hold on a second. I'm going to cut this out a little bit more right here. Okay, let's see how the two look. Okay, I need to take a little bit more off right here and a little bit more off. Sorry if you can't see this really well, but I've got to get it close enough to me that I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Size-wise, I'm pretty even right now. Okay. Before I stick in the eye sizers into the inside of the eye, I want to make sure this edge is smooth. So I'm going to take my white nylon bristle brushes, my stain cleaning brushes as they're called, and I'm going to soften those edges so I don't have any rough points that's going to go in and, you know, chip my eyes out. Okay. So now I'm going to start with the eye sizers. This dowel, depending on the size you cut out your eyes, what you end up with, you're either going to end up with either an 18 to a 20 millimeter eye. So I'm going to start with a 20 millimeter sizer first. I'm using just the old wooden eye sizers. I'm wrapping a knee-high nylon around it. Then I'm going to insert the sizer into the eye, and I'm going to carefully make some turns with the 20 millimeter sizer. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to the other eye. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to the 22 millimeter sizer. So I've started with the 20. I'm going to go up to the 22. So I'm going to place the 22 millimeter sizer in there, and I'm going to turn it, you know, several times with the 22. I'm really not going as fast as what it looks like on this video. It's like it speeds me up or something. Okay. But if I go slow enough that it looks normal on the video, I feel like I'm in slow motion here. So don't think you need to go as fast as what this video is showing. Okay, then I'm going to switch over to the other eye. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the 22 millimeter sizer. So all total, I'm using 3 eye sizers on this head. I started with the 20, the 22, and now I'm going to give a few turns with the 24. It's not going to take very many because the eye area is getting very thin there, so I want to be extremely careful here. But by using the 3 sizes of eye sizers, you'll have a little bit better chance of your eyes fitting real well, because it gives you a little bit of variance in the range of eye that's going to fit in. If you only used 1 size eye sizer, you're basically only going to get 1 size eye to fit, which might be a little bit difficult, you know, trying to get them to fit good. This should give you a much better fit. Okay, so a few turns on this side with the 24. Okay, now I want to take the white bristle brush again. I want to give it a few turns around the outside here. I'm smoothing my edges. Same way with the other one here. Okay, now I think I need to do a little bit of adjusting. Let me see if I can show you this. Right here. It's a little high right there. I need to take off just a little bit. I don't want to get carried away here though. So I'm just going to slide the knife and peel just the tiniest little bit of that off. Okay. There, now that sizes them up a little bit better. Okay, now before I put the eye sizer back in there again, I'm going to smooth that edge out with the brush. I always want this to be smooth, because after I've made a cut, if there's any kind of little jagged edge there, it's liable to catch on the eye sizer and chip your eye out, and then you're kind of sunk. At this stage, it'll probably ruin it and you wouldn't be able to use the head. So just make sure it's always smooth before you put the eye sizer in. You'll have a lot less chance of it chipping. Okay, now I'm going to work my way back down. I'm going to go back to the 22 millimeter and put that in. Do a few more turns with the 22. On each side. Okay, then I'm going to go back and just do once or twice with the 20. One last time, and hope this isn't my downfall. Okay, no. I think I'm okay. I'm going to do just a couple little turns here with the 20. Okay, then I'm going to go back in and smooth it out with the brush. I want this bottom eyelid to come up from the inside and meet the eyeball to where there isn't a, you know, gap or something kind of wiggly here that I'm going to be painting eyelashes over. I want this to be a totally smooth surface, so I'm actually putting the brush inside and I'm bringing it out like that, you know, across the edge of the eyelid to soften that up. Okay, same way with this side. I want to make sure my upper eyelid has a nice little rounded edge that the eyelashes are going to flow over. So I'm going to go back in and smooth that a little bit. Okay, now how my eye sizer fits in right there now is probably how my eyes are going to fit. So if I take and lay this in there, as you can see, now this was the 20, so it's just a hair small. You know, the head will shrink to where a 20mm eye will fit in there pretty good. But I'll show you with the 22. There's just a little bit of gap with the 20. But if I place the 22 back in there, it should fit pretty good from, okay, see there's no gap there with the 22 in there. It fits very well. The eye comes all the way forward to the eye. It should fit, the finished eye should fit in there very nicely. Okay, so basically my eyes are done. One thing I want to check is to make sure the earring holes are clear through and nothing has clogged them up. So I'm going to take just this little finger tool and place that in there. I prefer to just have the earring hole straight into the head. Sometimes it's very difficult to get earring holes going through the lobe that isn't going to mess up the heads. And when you need as many heads at a time as I do, I don't want to take a chance on losing a bunch of them with earlobes. So we're just going straight through into the head. I'm making sure that's all the way through. Okay, now I'm looking for any imperfections on the face, anything here that I might want to fix in the Greenware stage, because if I have any nicks, you know, very evident nicks and scratches and pinholes, it's much better to fill them in the Greenware stage than it is to wait till after it's soft fired. Now, after I get onto a soft fire head, I'll show you how to fix anything in soft fire. But for right now, I'm going to take the Greenware cleaning brushes. The actual really soft Greenware cleaning brushes. I'm going to dip that in water. I've got my little jar of water here. I'm going to blot out the extra. And then I'm actually going to take this and go over the head. Okay, I need to redip, blot. And this is going to help fill in any little, you know, minor tiny pinholes that I might have, or if I have a scratch. I still prefer to do my cleaning in soft fire, but I'm just checking for any imperfections. Now I had just a little tiny pinhole right here on the upper edge of the cheek. So I'm going to fix that with this brush. I'm going to make long strokes over it. Don't want to stay too long in one spot because it'll go right through the porcelain. So don't concentrate on one spot too much. Okay. That pretty well seals up anything. And give it one more time over the eyebrow area here. Just remember, if you're using the brushes and going over this, you know, do it very lightly and very quickly. Don't leave too much water sitting at one time on your head. Okay, another thing that doesn't hurt in the Greenware stage, oh, ignore my phone, it's ringing. In the Greenware stage, I prefer to run the brush around the inside edge of the head and the inside of the neck hole, just in case there's any little fine cracks that might be there from the pouring and the cutting out. I'm going to try to make sure those are sealed up. They'll be less apt to crack in the bisque fire stage. Okay, this head is, oh, I can do my incising with the Diamond Perfector. I'm going to put my initials and the year back here. And then I'm going to place this in my soft fire kiln, and I'm going to soft fire to an 019. I prefer 019. Some people do 018, but I prefer the lighter fire of the 019. It doesn't get near as hard. Okay, can you see the eyes pretty good here? Like I say, it's hard to tell which way to hold this thing that you can see it. I'm not used to doing the opposite here. Okay, so this is the finished head going into the soft fire kiln at 019. My next video will be on cleaning the soft fired greenware. Okay, thank you.